I don't know about you guys, but I feel like the Switch might be getting a price drop. Welcome everyone back to another spectacular episode of Mood News. This is more of like a mood ramble, a mood theory even for this episode. But I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're having a fantastic morning or a fantastic afternoon or whatever you're doing on your Monday. Happy Monday. And happy Paper Mario 1000 Year Door week. We're getting that at the end of the week. That's exciting. But not here to talk about any of that. What I'm here today is to talk about the Switch and the Switch 2, more specifically the current Switch, because that is actually in existence and we don't even know if the Switch 2 is going to be the Switch 2. It might be a brand new console called the Nintendo Juice, or why is that what I came to? I know the code name for it is OZ, so whatever that might be. But regardless, today we're here to discuss the price of a Nintendo Switch. Now, since the beginning, for over 7 years, right? This product is 7 years old, by the way, in case you forgot. Or 7.5. Bloody hell, it's getting, it's almost June, right? Is it almost June? I guess. It's the end of May. Regardless, it's over 7 years, no price drop. It's gotten 2 different models, at least, and one of those was cheaper, with the Switch Lite being around, I think, $200. I think maybe it launched at $250 and went down to $200, or maybe it's just, been $200 to begin with, but that's, $100 cheaper than the original Switch. Actually, I think it is $200, and then the regular Switch is $300, because why would you get a Switch Lite if it's $50 more for getting a dock and being able to play it on your TV? That makes no sense. So yeah, it was definitely $200. If it wasn't, let me know, because that would be crazy. And then that was in 2019 when we got the Switch Lite. And then in 2021, I believe it was, we got the Switch OLED, or the Switch OLED, everyone calls it. And this is the nice, premium, bougie-looking Switch with the new and improved dock. I say new and improved. Aesthetically, it's a new and improved dock, especially the white one. I've got the white one. Oh, it looks great, guys. It is such a good dock. It's just great. It aesthetically is very, very pleasing. And in terms of being the premium and pleasing console, right, I feel like the Switch 2 and what the rumors have been saying is that the Switch 2 is going to be a very, very premium console from the sounds of it in terms of specs. Because apparently, it's going to be like the power of a PS4 Pro, like loads of RAM. I could do a full Mood News just talking about the specific specs for the Switch 2. I don't know if you guys would be interested in that. Let me know if you are. That could be kind of fun. But today is not about thinking about the specs for the Switch 2. I keep jumping back to the Switch 2. This video is about the regular Switch. But regardless, if the Switch 2 is going to be modeled as a more premium console, if it's $400, $450, which it's seeming like it will be, how will that affect the current lineup we have of $350, $300, and $200? You know what I mean? Because in reality, Nintendo could probably get away with not changing a price for any of these whatsoever and just continuing to sell them at $200, $300, and $350, and then the new $400 or $450 model. But here's the thing. I feel like Nintendo are still going to support the original Switch with the new console. It makes too much sense not to, it's the install base for the Switch is about to crack the highest best-selling consoles of all time, if it hasn't already, I think it's right up there with the PS2 and the DS. I'm pretty sure it'll be DS. I think it's actually number 2 right now. I could be wrong, but if they really want to push it over the limit, right? Having it at its current price is bottlenecking you just a little bit, just a tad. Who doesn't have a Switch who already wants one, right? Who's already justified their purchase for it? I bet if we did a ratio or a questionnaire in the comments or something, we'd probably have 90% of people who have a Switch and only 10% who don't have a Switch. If you're watching this and don't have a Switch, please say, because I'm actually curious. I'd be very surprised if anyone doesn't have a Switch, but maybe that's just a bold assumption of me being being the Nintendo nerd. Who doesn't have one? Oh, shut up, Mads. What are you saying, Mads? But here's the thing. By the time they're selling the Switch 2, they would have completely exhausted the current markets of people who are purchasing the current Switch. You know what I mean? And even when the next console comes out, people who would be interested in getting the existing Switch would probably jump ship and get the new one anyway, right? I feel like that's what most people would do. If it's only $100 or even $150, sure, that's a lot more money, but if it's I say only, but if it is less than $200 in going from a Nintendo Switch or a Nintendo Switch OLED to the Switch 2, actually it would be $100 for the Switch OLED and $150 for the regular Switch. Regardless, that jump, a lot of people could justify going with that instead. And so, lowering the price for the Switch Lite, the Switch OLED would open up a new market for people who aren't usually gamers, I feel like. I mean, the Switch has already done that a little bit, and the Wii did that a lot with how, like, casually, advertised it was. But I think that's the case, right? The Switch and the Wii are very similar in terms of button controls, in terms of waggle. You can do like everything you can do on the Wii, you can pretty much do on the Switch. Like, bar like a few things a bit poorly because they don't have the sensor bar and stuff. But regardless, you could model these down. You could bring the price down for everything and then set up an advertising campaign or something that is targeted towards older, like elderly people and super young kids for the Switch. And you could probably bring a bunch of new life into it, similar to what the Wii did with its campaign of, getting people who aren't typical gamers to pick one up. And again, if a Switch is as cheap as $100 or $150 with a Switch Lite, and then, just $200 with a regular Switch and maybe $250 or $300 for the OLED, that would be a really good position for Nintendo to be in, where they can continue making money off of the existing infrastructure and the existing game library and everything which the Switch has already. And they're probably going to continue to support the Switch into a couple years of the Switch 2 or the Nintendo OZ or whatever it's called. I'll just call it the OZ because that sounds so cool, like OZ, ooh. Also, think of this, right? OZ, O is at the end of Nintendo and Z is at the end of the alphabet. So what does that mean? What are your theories? You guys have theories? Let me know. Also, something to consider is because the Switch is so old, right? Someone who was born in 2016 or 2015 or even 2017 or 2018 could possibly be someone interested in getting a Switch in a couple years, right? Or next year or this year. And so for younger people, for kids, right, their parents might not be able to justify getting them a really expensive new Switch 2 or Nintendo OZ or whatever, and so getting them a Switch Lite or a regular Switch model for a lower price could be a lot more justified into getting them, the entertainment they wanted to get. It's kind of funny that the Switch is so old to the point where a new generation can become part of the market. Like, that's so silly, but I guess it's the reality we're living in, So yeah, lowering the price in 2025 or sooner, nearing the holidays, especially for 2024, I feel like is such a smart decision Nintendo could go down if they wanted to, continue giving life to the Switch, which hopefully they will, as I've said before, for 10 years. So I feel like even when we get the new model, we're going to be getting like little random games here and there for the Switch, or games which are cross-compatible or something like that. Who knows? But regardless, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think below, and hopefully you enjoy this episode of Mood News, and let me think of a good outro. Goodbye? Sweet dreams? I don't know. Bye.